Federal prosecutors have officially opened a criminal investigation into New York Attorney General Tish James.
We have filed charges against this Letitia James. We will hold you accountable.
My message is clear. Don't harm my city. Don't harm my state. Otherwise, you've got to go through me.
Meanwhile, FBI Director Kash Patel confirmed that his agents are actively investigating the case and reporting directly to him and Deputy Director Dan Bongino.
It has to do with the fact that on a power of attorney, I mistakenly indicated that I was a state of Virginia, but prior to that, I had indicated to the mortgage broker that, in fact, in bold cap letters, that I am not a resident of Virginia and never will be.
We take our ongoing investigations very seriously, because this case, I can tell you, is being handled by our professional pros who are subject matter experts reporting directly to headquarters, which reports to Dan and I. This case, along with others, because it is a case of great public importance. If you broke the law, we are going to find out and we are going to investigate you, and then we are going to discuss that matter with the Department of Justice. We have great partners under General Bondi. We work with them and discuss the matter with them, but the prosecutorial decision is with them.
Sam Anton, Joel Gilbert, who are doing this, that they brought this to the public's sphere, and now you might see something with the DOJ criminal referring and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's interesting because these kinds of cases where it's all paper, right? It's a paper case. It's not like an assault where it's like, oh, this guy hit that guy. And a lot of times these cases are actually easier to prove because the evidence exists, right? I mean, think of it as simply as like filing a false instrument. We have cases like that. You've probably had cases like that when you were a police officer. But then expand that to a larger degree, more things that were filed than just one piece of paper. So if you're a prosecutor, you're going to hunt down all of those leads. You're going to want emails, you're going to want text messages, all of that data, and you're going to want filings, court filings. Then when you get all of that information from the paper, you're going to see names of people, right, in those papers, people who either participated in or knew about what was going on, and you have to follow the lead down that trail. You have to interview those people. You have to maybe treat them as little fish, right? Proffer them and say, look, you were a co-conspirator here. Maybe if you kind of tell us what happened here, did you feel pressure from her? Did you not really know what was going on? Tell us what happened and why you did what you did. And it might help strengthen a case against Tish James. I do think that there is something for her to worry about because, as you and I both know, and we've been talking about this throughout this whole episode even, a lot of times people do things that are wrong, and sometimes they're not caught, or sometimes they are caught, like Eric Adams, and not prosecuted. But we all know that when there's an appetite for it, that's when you have to be worried. So Letitia James, she may have been doing all of these things, but like no one really cared, or maybe people didn't know about it as much as they do now, or they didn't have an appetite for it because maybe politically they needed to align with her. Whatever it is, the stars have now aligned. The stars have aligned in such a way where there is apparently some sort of evidence that exists against her, and there's an appetite to go after her. So with all of that together, I do think she needs to worry about what's going on here. It sounds like there's things unraveling and developing, right? You know better than anyone. You start pulling that thread, and all of a sudden the whole sweater unravels at your feet, right? So I think, again, because of the fact that there's this attention now, there's going to be digging, and who knows what's going to come of it. And it's, people are saying she brought this energy on herself. Like, maybe she did. Maybe she did, because you have to understand that when you have lawfare, or when you do things because it's politically motivated, or not do things because it's politically motivated, you're going to start pissing off enough people that they're going to start looking into what you've done. And then she's going to have to deal with those consequences. Again, these are all allegations. We don't know, but it is something that she's probably speaking to a lawyer about, I would hope.
Look, she's got a lot of relationships. I haven't looked into all of them. I'm still focusing on Letitia. I certainly was thinking, like, where in the world did Letitia James get the very idea to investigate Trump for mortgage fraud? And I think we know the answer now. It's because since 40 years now, she is a serial mortgage fraud practitioner. And she figured, you know, if I do it, maybe we can get him for it. But I don't think she really had any evidence against Trump. He took out legitimate loans. When he took out loans for his large, you know, $100 million buildings financing, the way it works is the banks ask the person taking out the loan to give their opinion of the value of the property. And the person provides an opinion with a disclaimer. That's what Trump did. Even in his trial, there was a disclaimer that said, do not rely on our figures. We're not professional appraisers. This is simply our opinion based on the comps in the area. And the banks went on to do their own appraisals. They don't rely on their mortgagees, you know, guesstimates. So there was no crime. The lenders all said they got paid. They made money. They want to lend to Trump again. There was no injured party. It was absurd. It was just absurd. But it was part of a lawfare program that the Democrats instituted to get Trump, to get Biden reelected. It wasn't just New York. It was in Georgia. Of course, the special counsel Jack Smith, in Florida with the classified documents hoax. It was a strategy that they knew that Biden's policies weren't working. We had massive inflation. We got wars abroad. We got an open border. And they felt that the only way to ensure Biden get reelected, turning out they were trying to get Kamala in instead of Biden at the very end, would be to eliminate through lawfare the Republican opponent. All of those efforts ultimately failed. And Trump, of course, was reelected. And we're seeing that these prosecutors like Jack Smith, Fannie Willis in Georgia, and Letitia, in fact, have their own legal problems now because they're getting the scrutiny that they would not have otherwise gotten had they not engaged in illegitimate lawfare to take away the right of the American people to vote for whoever they wanted to. So Letitia is part of a pitiful, illegal, unwarranted effort without precedent for one political party to prosecute the other political party's opponent to try to propel their failed candidate into another term in office. So that's what Letitia is experiencing now, is the scrutiny that she never would have gotten before.
At a media event in Albany yesterday, U.S. Attorney John Sarone wouldn't comment.
I only know what I read in the paper or what's been reported in the media. So whatever's been reported in the media, that's all I know.
I believe there was a statement from your office that sort of confirms it. So
I heard about the statement, and I called the reporter and told him that I'm not going to say you misquoted, but what was meant by that statement was whatever is reported in the media is all that my office is aware of.
The New York Post claims the initial request for an investigation that was sent last month specifically referred to Sarkone's office. But again, you heard him there claiming that he only knows what has been already reported in the media. Congresswoman Elise Stefanik responding to the investigation, commending the FBI's decision to look into claims of mortgage fraud. She went on to call the AG hypocritical, arguing that her case is similar to the civil fraud case that she launched against President Trump and his company in New York. That case claims the president's company committed business fraud in the Empire State.
Now, it turns out that Letitia James should have been paying a bit more attention to her. Well, she's a slumlord, it looks like. She owns a townhouse, has owned it for a number of years, and has racked up all kinds of complaints. And these are very serious complaints. Bed bugs, all right? That's horrific. Also, peeling paint. That's also it's a big deal. Now, if you don't think that's a big deal, right? You know, bed bugs, peeling paint, doesn't everybody No. Actually, she went around bragging about a settlement that she achieved from a landlord, right? Attorney General secures $6.5 million from one of New York City's worst landlords. Interesting. All right, now remember that. It was only on her website, by the way. You had to go looking for it. This is the former U.S. Attorney Damian Williams, all right? Damian Williams is a guy with a lot of ambition. He also was good friends with Merrick Garland, our least favorite Attorney General ever. So bed bugs and peeling paint, it is a very big deal. I mean, they made a federal case out of it for that firm that got sued for $6.5 million.
Millions of people face health threats from environmental hazards in the home, including many New Yorkers. One key problem is lead paint in older buildings. Lead is toxic, especially to children, and when young kids breathe lead dust or put peeling lead paint in their mouths, they can face lifelong health consequences, like neurological problems and learning disabilities.
Wow. So that could be happening to the children who live in Letitia James's building. And bed bugs? Bed bugs too. What about that, Mr. U.S. Attorney?
Other unsafe housing conditions, like mold growing on walls or uncontrolled pests, can also impact tenants' health.
Pests, bed bugs. This is a federal case. This is a huge deal. And it's in addition to a lot of other irregularities that we'll get to. Tell me a little bit more there, U.S. Attorney Williams.
I am proud to announce today that this office, with our federal partners at the EPA, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and HUD Office of the Inspector General, joined by the New York State Attorney General.
Joined by the New York State Attorney General. The New York State Attorney General is part of this, right? Part of the case about the pests and about the peeling paint. But she's not there for some reason. One more.
Has settled a lawsuit against a major New York City landlord, Wilmore Management, LLC.
Well, that's the thing that Letitia James was bragging about on her website.
That's all for today. Thank you. If you want global news to keep you up to date on any new developments, please subscribe our channel and forward our content with your friends on social media and email. Thank you very much for keep supporting me. Stay safe. Be blessed. Namaste.
Thank you. God bless you. And God bless America.